After the Department of Telecommunications ordered Airtel and Vodafone Idea to clear dues by midnight yesterday, Airtel is the only one that has come forward and offered to pay 10,000 crore rupees by the 20th of February. There has been no word, however, from Vodafone on the payment of dues. The Supreme Court, let's remember, had threatened contempt proceedings against top executives of Airtel, Vodafone Idea and other telecom firms for failing to comply with its directive to pay an estimated 1.47 lakh crore rupees in past dues. The matter will be heard next on the 17th of March. Let me quickly bring in my colleague Avni Raja joining me on the phone line with more. Avni, the Supreme Court, the DOT, giving this deadline to these firms until midnight yesterday, but after that we've only seen Airtel come forward. What does this mean now for the rest of the firms?
Well, that's right, Sanjana. I mean, the Supreme Court really came down heavily on all the telecom companies for not having paid up these dues. Said that the dues have to be paid immediately. Now, after that, the telecom department said that gave them that deadline of midnight. But only Airtel is the only one which so far has come forth and said that they will pay up 10,000 crore by Feb 20th. Airtel owes about 35,000 crore. But there's been no word yet from any of the other companies, including Vodafone. Vodafone has to pay up almost 50,000 crore. So we'll have to wait and see, because the Supreme Court is very clear that this has to be paid immediately. And in fact, the Supreme Court went on to say that if this doesn't happen, then the companies will be held in contempt. And in fact, it already asked the companies why they shouldn't be held in contempt, considering the earlier order was passed in October when the Supreme Court had said the dues have to be paid. So now we have to wait for to see what the Department of Telecom really does now in terms of the next steps for getting this money paid out. But at this point in time, there's been no word from the other companies. Remember, the entire sector is going through a lot of tough times, and Vodafone had already, suggested that they won't be able to sustain operations if they pay up this kind of money at this point in time. They wanted some relief, but that hasn't happened. So for now, we'll have to wait and see what responses come in, and we'll have to wait and see what next the Department of Telecom does, because the Supreme Court has been very clear that this has to be followed at the earliest.
That's right, Avni. Thank you so much for putting that in perspective and bringing us those updates. It appears there's going to be more trouble for these telecom operators, as only Airtel has come forward and agreed to pay the amount of 10,000 crore by February the 20th.